On this episode of Motorsport Recently, we look back at the IMSA race at Road America and the Fuji 500 miles in Super GT. Lance Stroll's dad has bought his son an entire Formula One team, and literally the entire IndyCar community just soiled themselves with excitement. This is Triple Crown Racing, let's get into it. So last weekend, IMSA went to Road America for the Continental Tire Road Race Showcase. Last time out, it was a GT-only round at Lime Rock Park where the 66 Ford and the 48 Paul Miller Racing Lamborghini took victory. For this round, the prototypes were back, and with only 3 rounds to go after Road America in the championship, the battle was well and truly on in all 3 classes. In qualifying, it was the 85 JDC Miller Motorsports Oreca on pole, followed by the number 7 Penske Acura and the Core Autosport car. But once again, the Core Autosport car elected to start from the back for the 3rd time in a row. This granted third to the number 10 Konica Minolta Cadillac. In GTLM, it was the 66 Ford on pole, followed by the 67 car and the 3 Corvette. In GTD, it was the 58 Wright Motorsport Porsche on pole, followed by the 14 3GT Lexus and the 48 Paul Miller Lambo. So the stage was set for an awesome race. This race was actually really awesome to watch and had some great on-track action, but it was only really the end of the race that counted. To sum it all up, the Mathiasen Motorsport number 52 crashed twice. The 66 Ford ran into problems and fell right to the back of GTLM. The 24 BMW had problems as well. The Core Autosport car did what they've done in the past few races and made their way to the front of the field from the back using their whole John Bennett strategy. The number 58 Porsche actually drove a very good and clean race in GTD, but the one to watch in GTD was actually the 63 Scuderia Corsa Ferrari, which actually had quite a few cool on-track scraps. But as I said, it was the end of the race that was the most interesting. With 5 minutes to go, it looked like the 10 Cadillac had won it, but the race had taken an unexpected turn and a new factor had come into play. Fuel. The car that looked like it had won the race already didn't have enough fuel to get to the end and came into the pits with around 5 minutes and 30 seconds to go. It looked like the number 55 Mazda, being driven by Jonathan Bomarito at the time, would take Yost Mazda Racing's first victory. But with only a few minutes later, the 55 car came in because they were also running out of fuel. It didn't stop there though. The 25 BMW also ran out of fuel and fell short of the pit lane, and it was actually running in second in class at the time. So with the 2 leading prototypes pitting for fuel in the last 5 minutes, it was the 54 and the 99 in the lead. However, both Orecas were running on fumes, and the 31 Cadillac of Felipe Nasr had caught up to them. But they managed to hold on till the end, and Core Autosport took yet another win from the back of the prototype field. And at the same time, the 67 Ford won in GTLM. But the action wasn't over. In GTD, the battle was on for 6th place between the 14 3GT Lexus, the 86 Acura, and the 44 Magnus Racing Audi. The battle, which went to the final laps, caused the 44 Audi to run off the road, and it span and crashed, nearly taking out the 86 Acura. The 14 car ended up winning that battle, but in GTD it was the 58 Wright Motorsport Porsche that won, ending this utterly amazing race. This race has had huge championship implications. In the prototype class, the 31 car leads the championship, followed by the 5 car, but the Core Autosport car has taken their 2nd win and 4th podium of the season, and this has put them in 3rd place in the championship. They are currently beating both Penske's and last year's championship winners, the number 10 Cadillac. This has put them in an actual position to win the championship. These guys are an underdog team that moved up from Prototype Challenge at the start of this season. I remember people saying that there was no way that they were going to win because they didn't have enough money to run the LMP2 car, but now they are beating Team Penske and Wayne Taylor Racing. This is David and Goliath right now, and currently David is winning. In GTLM, the 67 Ford retakes the lead of the championship, followed by the 3 Corvette and the 66 car, which lost their championship lead at Road America. In GTD, the 48 Lamborghini has a relatively comfortable lead over their championship rivals, the 86 Acura, leading them by some 18 points. The championship looks like it's going to go down to the wire, and what the standings will be at the end of the season are still a complete mystery. The season is turning out to be something very special indeed. So last weekend, we had another round of the world's most underrated racing championship, Super GT. This round was the Fuji 500 miles and is the second time this year we have visited Fuji. After Thailand, Heikki Kovalainen had become the sole leader of the GT 500 class, followed by the 100 Raybrig Honda of Naoki Yamamoto and everyone's favourite hashtag, Benson Button. Jensen Button in case you're stupid. And the 23 Moto Ortec GTR, otherwise known as the Red Car. In GT 300, it was the 11 Gainer Tanax GTR leading the championship, followed by the 31 Toyota Prius and the 65 Mercedes. In qualifying, all the Hondas got screwed over by success ballast, meaning that the Moto Ortec car started on pole in GT 500, and in GT 300 it was the 25 Hoppy 86 on pole. So the stage was set for a race we were supposed to accept as the Blue Ribbon event because Super GT doesn't have the Suzuka 1000 anymore. So really it was just a longer Super GT race, which, don't get me wrong, is no bad thing. So the race got underway and all the Hondas were rubbish because they had a crap ton of success ballast and were really slow on the straights. In GT 300, the Arta BMW passed the Hoppy 86 for the lead. Naoki Yamamoto made his way up through the field, which is actually quite impressive considering they started 9th. Anyway, by some miracle, the 12 Calsonic car driven by Jan Mardenborough actually got in front, passing the red car, only then to retire. It's actually really a shame because Jan Mardenborough drove extremely well and it was all in vain. Also, Jensen Button got a 10-second penalty for overtaking under yellow flags, but the Raybrig team once again began making their way up through the field. Just before the 12 Calsonic car retired, the 36 Lexus got past the Moto Ortec car, which meant it effectively took the lead of the race, and it stayed there until the end and won. As I said earlier, the Arta M6 had gotten to first place and it stayed there until the end. I should say though, the Raybrig team did really well to get into 5th place, which is really impressive considering the weekend that they had. Anyway, the championship now looks like this, and somehow the number 1 car has taken the lead of GT 500, which is really strange because I've barely seen them all year. In GT 300, the Arta M6 leads the championship. After this race though, I've realised something. I used to think the whole idea of success ballast was a good idea, but now it just seems artificial. At the start of the season, Raybrig were doing really well because they didn't have that success ballast, but now they do. It's just ruining their races. Honestly, I would just want to see a fair and square fight between Lexus and Honda with no success ballast and see who comes out on top then. Anyways, next up is Sportsland Sugo, and hopefully we can see a fairer fight between Lexus and Honda. Oh yeah, so it happened. Lance Stroll's father bought Force India. I have already covered this story and the speculation of this happening, but now it has actually happened and the deal has gone through. This will probably mean that Lance Stroll is going to Force India in 2019, which means one of the 2 Force India drivers are about to get severely screwed over. This sucks because both of them are really good drivers, and this change will mean that one of them will either end up in a really bad drive or out of Formula 1 entirely. Anyways, at least Force India has been saved from administration and won't be the 9th team to pretty much die in the last 10 years. Those teams being Caterham, Manor, HRT, Toyota, Honda, Super Aguri, Lotus and Braun. So just over the past day or so, the whole IndyCar community has gone into hype mode, with more fuel being added to the hashtag FredWatchFire, with Fernando Alonso posting this cryptic tweet. So this tweet indicates to us that some sort of announcement is coming on the 14th of this month. Now, there is enough evidence to suggest that this is what we've all been waiting for, and this is Alonso's move to IndyCar. Unless you've been living under a rock, you know that McLaren and Alonso have been talking about about starting up an IndyCar for a long time now, and it looks like this is it. So hopefully I can get this video out before Alonso makes any kind of announcement, and hopefully this news isn't already outdated by the time it comes out. What do you guys think? Alonso to Indy? Well, what I would say is, run for the hills, man. Formula 1 doesn't deserve you. Just do it. Have I become an Alonso fan? Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode of Motorsport Recently. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.